welcome to the Roadster Rumble Season 7, round number 2 tonight, live from Daytona International Speedway. We are here for the Roval tonight, and the drivers just completing qualifying now. Hobson on top of the times from Jack Boyd. Brad Wooten starts from 3rd place with Dutch, Pears and Fence in your top 3 in Class B tonight. Here's a quick look at the standings after the first round. Group A, Jack Boyd leads the standings on 159 points versus Hobson on 136, 133 for Aaron Oliver, with Ridley and Wooten your top 5. In the Class B or Group B, it's Mark Foster leading after round number 1, Dutch P2, Greg Holmes P3, Keith Logan and Andrew Pears rounding out your top 5 for Class B. Let's go straight down to the grid now as we get set to go racing tonight. This is how they will line up. The Class A drivers at the front, of course. It is Brenton Hobson off the front row with Jack Boyd alongside him as race control just gives a little final instruction. Wooten will start from the 2nd row with Ridley, then it's Losh and Seeger, Boyd and Sharp your top 8, Oliver and McCulloch your top 10 tonight. Dutch, the first of the Group B drivers, in 11th with Moz next to him in 12th place. 13th on the grid is now a lot of our Group B drivers with Pears, Fenson, Gordon and Canto down there in 16th place. Connors starts from 17th, Carriage down in 18th place, Harrison, Foster, Baker and Holmes round out your 22. Ellis and Tesseriro starts from 24th on the grid. 25th on the grid tonight is Mr. Linus with Pretzel down there. Cuthbertson and Robertson as Harrison and Logan down in 30th place tonight, followed by Hodgetts, Martindale, Nancaro and Harrison in 34th on the grid. Gogol and Kennedy 36th. Once again, massive field of MX5s tonight with St. John just behind Rodkin there and McDonald to round out the field. Right at the back, Jamie Walker. So there you go. There's a look at your grid. Hobson just lining up for us now. It's night time here. Not great for broadcasting, but still, we will get a show. Of course, there's lights here, so what we don't get is a lot of detail. You can see if I zoom right in, we get some pretty good detail of the cars, but nighttime, everyone knows, Racestars TV, not a fan of night, but I tell you what I'm a fan of, the Roadster Rumble. And we love racing. These guys are going to put on a good show tonight. 2 30-minute races. They will need to stop for fuel at some point tonight, so keep an eye out for anyone trying something different with the strategy. But we're just waiting on the last few drivers to line up now. There's a look down the field. Like I say, massive amount of cars there. Someone disappearing off the front couple of rows there. There's a bit of flashing at the back too. We wait for a green and watch Hobbo off the front row. A bit of wheel spin at the front, but the green light comes on and we get away. So good start pretty much all round as they roll down towards the infield section of this Daytona road course. Hobson leads us in from Boyd, Wooten P2, then it's Ridley, Losh. Someone is dropping places down the order there. I think it was Gordon, Tyson Gordon, dropped 3 positions off the start. Into the infield they go, and they're already jostling at the front, Hobson and Boyd. It's what we've seen throughout the last few seasons, and we continue to see tonight. Nancaro's had a spin. I think Gogol and Rodkin as well, maybe involved in that. St. John could have also caught up in all that. There's this car swerving around there. One of the, I think it was Henry Fenson. We've got a car backwards as well, way down the back here. There's a bit of a dust up with Cuthbertson being one of them and someone else involved in that too, and he's reset to the pits. As we now go back to the lead pack, Hobson, Boyd and Wooten, your top 3. Hasn't Brad Wooten been exciting after round 1? He is quick, and he is now fighting it up there with the big boys. Howdy Graham, howdy Keith, and anyone else tuning in to watch tonight. Welcome aboard. We've got 40 or so drivers out there tonight, bringing all their friends in to watch as per usual, so we'll try and highlight as many of the drivers as we can when you make some noise. Otherwise we just continue on with watching where the battles are. Right now there's a battle back here on lap 1 between Connors and Pears. Carriage is there as well, and Foster further back, 18th place. Scott Baker and Tesseriro down in 20th place as well, up 4 positions off the start. Martindale and Nancaro, I thought Nancaro was maybe involved in that incident at the start, but he's ended up 7 spots up the order in 26, so something's gone right there for him. As Dutch cuts the infield there, we're looking at Mark Foster in that beautifully turned out MX5. Back to the lead battle, and it's already a 3.5 tenths of a second gap here. Hobson, Boyd, Wooten, the top 3 covered by half a second. As we head around the embankment, flat stick, foot to the floor. So crossing the line now to finish lap 1. Lap 2, it's a 2 minute 20.9. Quite a long lap here in an MX-5. It's a longish course. We see the GT3s rip around here, and also the Indy cars. The MX-5 is quite a way, so we're going to probably be looking at around 14 or 13 laps for this first of 2 races tonight. You can see the 30-minute cap, or a 20 lap, whichever we get to first. Well, it's definitely going to be capped off around that 30-minute mark as we look back at pairs. It's Baker side by side as well with Jesse and Cody Harrison. 19th place, Dutch out at 20. And they push on at the front. So Hobson, Boyd, Wooten, Ridley, Losh. In the background, Boyd, Seeger, McCallick, Oliver, Sharp, your top 10. Bit of a look at the back of Dean. I'll get side by side, a bit of side drafting. Not sure if it has much effect here in a MX-5. As I blow my ears out and probably blew your television audio out as well. That is loud on board, isn't it? We've got long distance cameras here at Daytona. I always forget that. You can see as I zoom back how far away the cameras are from the actual cars, because they set them back a long way, which tends to mean the mics aren't as loud. When you go to the onboard, you get the full force of these little buzz boxes ripping away as they roar around here. I reckon it must be 90% of the lap full throttle. They definitely will get that right foot pushed hard into the right loud pedal for this evening, as Hobson's still holding that lead around 3.5 tenths. Surprised that Boyd isn't being able to close right up onto the back here, and I think maybe just as I say that, Boyd does do just that. So there's a long shot here as they come down across the line. 2 minute 11 there. New fastest lap actually for Losh, back in about 5th place. So he lights up the timing screen. He's closed up onto the back of Kyle Ridley. Further back is McCulloch, sorry, and Oliver still engaging in a battle. And look at this, Oliver goes defensive early in the infield section. McCulloch will try and go around the outside. Gogol's had another crash by the looks of things, just seeing some data popping up on my other screen there that he's maybe gone around again. And another driver in there, Dylan Canto, 11th place, engaged in a battle here with Connors, Fenson and Pears. So the top Group B driver right on the back, right on the tail of the last Group A driver. Well, the last Group A driver in the top 11. We do have Harrison and Tesserero way out of order down the field there in 22nd and 23rd, but they're keeping with them. I was impressed actually with the qualifying times there to see how close the Group Bs were this week to the Group A. So these cars obviously much more similar than we saw last season out there. So it's good racing. 5 tenths now. Hobson holds the lead out in front. It's good to see Hobbo out racing in the Pro Invitational over the weekend. Big Bathurst 1000 event yesterday, and as always didn't end up on the top step, but he drove very, very well and always impresses when he's at the wheel. It was a tough race, I tell you what. 161 laps. I'm glad we're not doing 161 laps tonight. I don't think I would have the stamina to do that 2 days in a row. So we look back at Frog Leap Juice Racing. Fantastic livery on this car, lots of detail, as you can see the close-up there. Someone puts a lot of time and effort into making these cars look so beautiful. And here comes Wayne Losh, WBT. Haven't they been a strong team to reckon with as well throughout this, well, last season, end of last season, coming into this season? They've come straight out of the box. Once again, you can always say if Losh is there, Seeger's not far behind, or vice versa. Damien's just 2 spots back at the moment. And down the inside, Losh has a look on one of the Boyds. Ooh, okay, that's Glenn Boyd in the mix there. Glenn Boyd hanging on the outside, just trying to stay out of trouble. His boy Jack still up in P2. As we now start the 7-minute mark of this race. Time certain race, of course. So new fastest lap for Damien Seeger. I was just talking about WBT and how well they're going. That's a good job, as backwards Tyson Gordon facing the wrong way for the Taps NT racing car. He turns around, and that may be a redress, is it, for Scott Baker? He's just sort of holding back there, a bit gingery. In fact, I wonder if Tyson didn't have to give the position back to Baker, and he's got a little bit of damage on that car too. So they may have got together, those two, just judging by the witness marks all over that car. The top three still separated by just on 6.5 tenths of a second. I'm not sure of the, I'm just having a look now to see if I can find the calendar for this season. I would love to see these cars around Tsukuba or one of those tight circuits. I think we're going to Fuji from memory. I'm just having a quick look now, see if I can pinpoint the calendar. But what I find is with MX-5s, these long tracks, they do spread out quite a bit. Now, that goes against what you think. The power of the toe, generally pretty good this style of racing, but they're low horsepower cars, so they're all pretty much finding their limitations as they push through the air, all wound out to top speed as well, as Hobson now has Boyd right on his tail, Wooten, Ridley, Losh, and there's a change of position back in 8th place. This little foursome, Aaron Oliver's in there as well, battling and changing constantly. At the back of it, it's Damien Siegel. Let's jump on board with him and have a little bit of a look as he gets alongside Calic and gets the job done. So nice little overtake there. Elevates himself up into 8th place. So yeah, just to run across the dates for season 7. We're off to Matigi next, then Silverstone, then Sebring, the Nürburgring and Bathurst. So it's a lot of long race tracks in this season. So bunker down. We're going to have a lot of, I think, spread out racing, but a lot of drivers trying to, whether or not they're trying to save fuel with the fuel saving that's brought into these races, or they're trying to just hit their numbers. Not seeing too many challenges just yet, back with this battle for 12th place. And the Foster Sim racing car currently sitting 14th place up 6. Let's go to our biggest movers and shakers at this part of the race so far. Belly Martindale now up 14 positions into 18th place. He's moving along nicely. And Michael Nancaro got a big hit in the back end of that car. You can see the crinkled bodywork. So is the car in front, in fact, but Nancaro currently up 13 positions. But the outright biggest mover and shaker overall is this person, Jamie Walker, currently sitting in 24th place, but came from the back of the field, so has made up 16 spots in the opening 5 laps, the opening just on 11 minutes of this race. So that's decent. The Group B, still the top 3. It's Andrew Pears, who in the Simworx racing car is dominating Group B, ahead of Connors and Fenson, Henry Fenson, sitting there in 3rd place, looking about ready to make a move here on Anthony Connors, the Lockmec racing car, to try and get himself up into P12 outright, but importantly P2 in class. Connors takes advantage of Fenson going in very deep, but he'll try and hold the inside line here, Fenson. Then he gets the inside for the right-hander, but I tell you what, that was good work, Connors. Pushing on well now. This is, remember, fighting over the podium for Group B. Andrew Pears, who's leading Group B 11th outright, is just in front of this little battle pack. So it's nice and close for Group B tonight. The top still around half a second between the top first and second drivers, and second and third as well, still around that 3-4 tenths of a second. It doesn't seem to be changing too much with the power of the draft. So let's stay with this Group B battle for a moment, and I reckon Henry Fenson and Mark Foster are ready to engage. Let's jump on board with Henry Fenson for a bit of a look. to Pedro, tuning in on Twitch tonight. Just saw that comment pop up. Hope you're doing well. Morning and yeah, night time for us, morning for you. And the mighty Miters are out there racing. Miatas out there racing tonight. The MX-5s as they're known, and these little Mazdas, they do move around. They're forgiving little cars. You can slide them, get very easily accustomed to overdriving these cars, and they do tend to bite you back if you do that. They eat the tyres out, but they also slow you down. So you're keeping momentum, keeping it smooth, keeping the flow so important tonight as we see the gap just come down at the top between Hobson and Boyd. And Hobson was on the radio a minute ago. I think everything's all good. I wonder if he got a slowdown. He's just now into the clutches of P2 Jack Boyd, who might have a move. And look at the cars behind as well. 2, 4, 6. The top 6, you could throw a blanket over them. 0.8 of a second covers the top 6. And then behind them, you've got Glenn Boyd as well, keeping an eye. And just with that corner alone, Hobson pulls 6/10 lead back out again. Took so much speed through there, so much more than anyone else. And that overhead view shot told the story. With Glenn Boyd, just had to back out of the throttle there for a moment, and he does it again there, just getting right up behind Wayne Losh. He needs a good exit onto the straight here. He didn't get it. He held back quite a bit. In fact, he's got Damien Seago. We just panned that camera around. There's Seago right behind him. You could hear that little MX-5 giggling and laughing away as he chases him down onto the embankment section. And top 10, 3.3 seconds covers the Group A drivers tonight. Still Connors, Anthony Connors, that is, leads Group B. And he's got a nice margin now. 0.9 of a second covers himself back to Foster. And then Dutch, who is 1.2 seconds behind these, the top 2 in class. So remembering tonight, the blue slash next to their names is Group A. And the grey slash for the Group B drivers, if you're wondering what the colour code means. That's the easy explanation. Hobo 88, as always, streaming, I think, tonight on Twitch. If you're bored and you want to go and have a look at his first-person point of view, and he does some commentating as well, which is fantastic. Definitely worth checking out. Twitch, Hobo 88. He's been doing it for a while now. He's very popular, as we see. Stack of cars in the lane. Hobson, Losh, and McCallick all in the lane. Jack Boyd continues on. So does Oliver and Woot. Now, I wonder if Hobson out in front was just using a little bit more fuel than these guys behind, and he was sort of dictating the pace, and now he's jumped in the pits to fuel to the end of this. And or Jack Boyd, will he try the overcut? Or is Hobbo just making sure he gets a bit of fuel in the car, gets out into a nice gap now, which he should do. He'll drop down, I think, around to 26th or so, 27th place possibly. The field spread tonight is, like I said, quite large. It's back to 20th place. We're looking at only 6 seconds or so, but no, sorry, I'll revise that. 20th place is 43 seconds. But if you look back to 35th place, it's 1 minute and 43 seconds. So they're spread out around this Daytona circuit. As you look at the track map there, you can see all the little numbers representing each car. And yeah, very evenly spread right around the circuit tonight as we hit 16.5 minutes. So beyond the halfway point now of this first race of the evening. It's going to be interesting as these pit stops play out. Aaron Oliver still holding on to P2. Beautifully turned out race car here with Palmer's on the side, Penrite on the front and back. And Simworx.com, you can see that Group A car as pointed out nicely by the graphics on the rear number plate. I love that they've gone to this trouble to all be wearing their matching number plate. So fantastic little initiative from Greg and the team to make this stand out easily for us. As I'm just watching Kyle Ridley there as well, still hounding the back of Aaron Oliver in this Juice car. Doesn't look good with the lightning bolt and the Juice symbol on the side. He is now fighting for a podium position, be it that we've got two of the fast drivers, Losh and Hobson, have pitted and dropped way back for now anyhow. So 15th for Hobson, that's where he's come back out of the pits. He'll try and work his way forward. He's got a little bit of a gap between himself and the car in front. Into the pits comes the rest of them, I think. Or who stayed out? Kyle Ridley says, I'll do another lap, thank you very much. Everyone else piles in. Boyd, Wooten, Oliver, Seeger, Boyd and Sharp all into the pit lane. Anthony Connors will probably follow too, which he does. They go below the line there and into the pit lane. Staying out was Fenson and Pears. They're going to stay out there, Group B competitors. Maybe have a little bit more fuel on board, or maybe just a bit more conservative of how they've been using the big right boot so far for the first 18 minutes of this race. So Ridley leads Class A. He'll need to stop shortly. Then it's Fenson for Group B, Pears for Group B, Jack Boyd second in Group A, and Seeger, who's in the pit lane. In fact, Hobson will go through to go back up into P2 outright for his class. If he can get past Jack Boyd. Now Jack Boyd, I think, is just on the inside. There is Boyd coming out of the lane. So Hobson has got around and out in front of Boyd just by a whisker after that pit stop phase of this race. Big shout out to all the sponsors, of course, in this series. Roadster Rumble, brought to you by all the race sponsors that you see top right hand corner of the screen, and they quite often say that they watch it back in the lunchroom. So shout out to everyone who gets behind this great series. As Ridley in the pits from the lead now, comes in for his first stop. Fenson and Pears, I presume, will follow them in. Fenson has gone in. Pears, due for a stop, will go down below the line surely and fire into the lane. And that will make everyone has stopped except for Jamie Walker, currently 11th place. So that's 29 positions gained for Walker, but that will all sort itself out once he does come in for his stop. So Hobson will resume the lead, and he's got a 1.5 second margin back to Jack Boyd. So that's really worked out in the favour tonight of Brenton Hobson. He's come out here firing, and he'll be pretty hard to beat if he carries this sort of speed momentum, because Jack lapping a what's his best, a 2:11.82 versus a 2:11.83. He's 100th quicker than Hobson, but the last lap alone he was nowhere near him. So it didn't work out through the pit stop phase either. Hobbo stopping on lap 7, Boyd on lap 8, and Hobson coming out well in front. So I think it's about 0.3 of a second going into the pit stop. It's about 1.3 seconds coming out the other side. Pedro saying Group A and B, is it like Pro and Am? Yeah, pretty much. They split them up into two categories, and slight speed difference in the car, horsepower difference. Not as much as it was last time with the 2016. We're not using that car this time. It's the older cars, the Roadster and the 2010, I think it is. So much more evenly split. In fact, the fastest time we've got in Group A, 2:11.8. Fastest time in Group B at 2:13.5, so about 2 seconds, about 1.6, in fact 1.7 seconds difference in overall lap speed between the two cars. Glenn Boyd wheel to wheel here with Aaron Oliver. Aaron Oliver once again on the outside has a run on him. There's the famous Ferris wheel, as you can see there. People up on the chair plane. Having a good time here at Daytona. As always, great circuit. Lee Harrison and Dylan Canto fighting here. This is the Canto racing car versus the Palmer's Penrite Sim Racing car. And on the back of them, there's Greg Holmes. He's in his own little battle here with Matty T. Oh, Matty T was sliding through there, carrying lots of momentum in, but Holmes at the moment 6th outright in his Group B class. Great livery on this car. It looks nice, doesn't it? I'm not sure. I think he does his own paints. I like the colour scheme. He's got the chrome, coloured chrome happening as well. Very good. Something I never bothered to work out how to do, the spec maps and paint layers. I sort of stopped racing just as that was coming in and started doing this broadcasting. So 23 minutes gone, we've got 6 to go. And we're going to get probably, what did I say, 14 laps? It's going to be around that mark in this race. Let's go back to Cody Harrison, Billy Martindale, and who's the other one there? Andrew Pears. These three having a great battle back in Group B for 7th, 8th and 9th in class. So Billy Martindale now back into 8th. He's up 12 spots, so good gains for him tonight. And Cody Harrison running in 21st place, 9th in Class B. Having a good little fight. They'd be enjoying this, these drivers. They love their wheel-to-wheel battles, and they're such evenly matched cars. That's why they're so good for this style of racing and why this continues to be such a popular series. They absolutely love it. Back up to the front for the next couple of minutes. There's P6 and 7. Oliver Losh in front of them, Glenn Boyd trying to hang on for P5. That's good points for his championship if he can stay there. Up on 2 wheels was Aaron Oliver. But yeah, if Boyd can stay 5th place, he'd be very, very happy with that. Oliver Losh, Ridley and Dutch then running at your 10 with Henry Fenson. P2 in B class, sitting currently 10th outright. These little inter-team battles, into friendship groups, no doubt. They get out there, practice together. It is lone qualifying, but the rest of the time they're out there all together on the racetrack. And I'm sure the teams work together to try and just bolster up their ability and help each other with little tips on being quick around these racetracks. It is a fixed setup, so there's not a lot you can do as far as driving, well, outside of the ability of the car and what's given to you. And look at that, that was deep in there from Boyd, who slots down the inside. He'll try and get past Ridley here, but they'll box him out into the infield section. Ridley just at the back of this little pack has Boydie in front, Oliver as well on the outside. Now they swing back around. Wayne Losh says thank you very much, I'll stay ahead of all of you. And Loshy powers out of the corner, currently P5 outright. There's more positions changing further back down the pack. This is Greg Holmes just ahead of Matty T still. They've been fighting out for this entirety of this race pretty much. I just noted that Greg Holmes is a Group B driver, whereas Matty T a Group A, so probably not having his most exciting night. Matty T fighting back a class. But out in front with just on 2 laps to go, Brenton Hobson has made this look pretty easy up to this stage. Now it's come down to 0.6 of a second. He might just get the fight that he always wants for the last lap of this race. Quite often mentions in the post-race interviews how much he enjoys this series and battling with the other drivers, and he can always race fair with Jack Boyd. He knows that he'll be respectful, give him some space. Brad Wooten, well, he's going to be in as the 3rd fighter in a second, and so Damien Seeger's been dragged along too, so there's going to be a 4-way battle for P1 here tonight, with I reckon a lap to go at the end of this one. Is it? No, we'll get 2 more in, judging by the timing. So this is Damien Seeger, who's looked menacing all night tonight. We'll jump on board with him and ride it round to the checker. So you listen to that engine note, definitely holding back. Doesn't want to be in front of Wooten, Boyd and Hobson just yet. So is he just practicing for the slipstream onto the final lap here? And will we see him try and come from the back of the 4 at the top to sneak a win? It's that was half throttle for a lot of that roll around there. I think he will have a good shot if you can get a good exit through the chicane on the back straight and then just hold back probably 3-4 car lengths, take a run at them with a bit of a handy tow. He might be able to get at least a P2. I'm not sure he'll get all three of the drivers in front and sneak through in front of Hobson, but he could get at least a P2. We'll wait for that. They've got a bit to go. In fact, we may even get an extra lap. Just watching the time. You know what? I think we'll get this lap and one more. It's going to be one of those occasions where we just sneak through for the extra lap. But Boyd not looking like he can hang on to the back of Hobson now. He closed up. He might close up again on this this straightaway, but it was back out to 8 tenths. It got down to 5 tenths on the previous lap. That's right on board with Jack Boyd as he's now going to come under pressure from Brad Wooten and Damien Seeger. And I'm just fascinated to see what Seeger's doing here. He's holding back again. Surely you would try and get up onto the back here of Brad Wooten if he can. Let's listen. So he's out of the tow. That's what I mean. He's not really positioning the car where he wants to be. Now he gets back into where he wants to be. Straight away has to get out of the throttle. And I reckon Boyd and Wooten are all doing the same thing here. They're trying to hold back. They don't want to lead onto this back straight to the line because whoever's coming out first out of that chicane right there is going to get eaten up by the line. We've got a minute to go. They'll finish this lap. We'll get one more lap to go with a white flag. And the top four are going to run this down to the wire. Glenn Boyd as well, P7. He's chasing down Loshie and Oliver behind him. Probably doing the same thing. Thinking, look, the best I can do right now is P6 if I can take these two guys in front of me. Let's just hold back for a moment. So they cross the line, 1 to go, lap 14. I predicted that at the start. My math's pretty good tonight. Let's go back to this lead battle because as Boyd and Ridley fight their way through turn 1, Boyd's gone really wide there. He'll come back on. He'll lose a couple of positions. He does to Oliver as well. Losh and Oliver get through. Let's go back with this lead battle and watch Hobbo lead him through the infield section for the last time in race 1 of 2 tonight. 2 races on tonight's program. We will head straight to the second one after a short warm-up. And no doubt it will be just like this race. And they've had their phase of just holding back, saving some fuel. Now it should be gloves off to the end. They've got some lap traffic. Pretzel just up the road as well. I wonder if he may just jump out of the way or else hinder Hobson slightly. This is where the run is going to work. From here on in to the checker, you got to see, or Seeger, where is he? P4. Let's see what sort of exit he gets. Hobson was right up on the wall there, stealing a bit of a toe off the lap car. Now, as he timed this perfectly, Damien, he's going to hang back. He'll get full throttle. Hopefully, he'll be right on the back of Wooten's tail, carrying as much speed as he can through that final chicane. Can he get himself alongside and maybe challenge for a win? That would be epic. He holds back now. Listen to that, out of the throttle. They're all out of the throttle there. They're playing games. Hobson is going to be the one that leads it. I don't think he'll win it from P1, Hobson. Yeah, what sort of run does he get? Has he caught him napping there? He's got a really good exit through the chicane, Brenton Hobson. And off he goes now towards the line. We hit the 30-minute mark. He's got half a second lead here. There's the trailing pack. They'd be full throttle now, but I reckon Hobbo played the cards perfectly on that last chicane. There's still a run to go. We've still got a fair way go. They're closing down now. Here they come. The next 3 as they head towards the line. We're not there yet. We've still got a couple of 100 meters to go. They're going to go 4 wide as they get to the checker. We are 4 wide. Cross the line. There's contact. Contact. And Hobbo does. No, Wooten gets the win. Hobbo P2. Or is it a dead heat there? It's showing exactly 0.000 on our timing screen. We'll get you a replay of that shortly. Comes down to the wire. Carriage also goes through. No, Connors gets it. So Connors is going to get the win here. No, Fenson now. This is for the win in Group B. They're also 3 wide. And it's going to be Connors who fights his way back. So Anthony Connors gets the win in Group B by 17 thousandths of a second. What a finish. And Wooten with the win is classified the winner. Let's go and have a look at that. We'll go to the checker flag. We'll slow it down. And we'll see if we can pinpoint that by a nose. So here's the run out of the final chicane. Just watch this. And towards the line, we'll try and stop it right on the line. And they've adjudicated Wooten as the winner. Here it is. Can we stop it right in the right spot? That little bit of contact, I wonder if that played a part in... Hobbo. No, well, Hobbo wasn't involved, was he? It was more Boyd and Seeger getting together. Let's try and get an overview shot and see if we can slow this to the line. I'm going to miss this. You watch, I'll try. Oh, that's as close as we can get, Nelly. Can we go frame by frame here? So right there, it looks like Hobbo's in front. We stop it again. Oh, we'll try and back it up. Well, let's go super slow-mo. Well, we'll try it again. This is going to be so tedious. That's pretty good. So look at that, Hobbo just in front by a whisker across the line. And
right on the line there, Andrew.
That's how you want to finish the race. So sorry, it's saying Wooten's in front there. Now, what do you reckon down the bottom there? It's got to be close, doesn't it? Do you reckon iRacing's got that wrong? To me, it's set a dead heat. We'll get the results up on the screen shortly, and we'll see what iRacing says. But to me, oh my gosh, have we got a camera that can show us a direct line across from the checker? Oh, it's going to flick us forward as it does, but I'll take that back. Let's see if we can roll it back, because we do have a warm-up session, a bit of time to kill. We'll try and take it back and see what we get here. But wow, that's the sort of finish you want, and that's what the Roadster Rumble continues to deliver. And as it sets up the next race, we'll just take this back. Unfortunately, with our software, once it starts a new race, I've got to actually manually rewind this, but we'll get there. There it was to the line. So let's just go searching for camera angles here. I do have a I reckon this one may be on the line. Let's have a quick look in slow-mo. Here we go. This is the angle we want. I know I had one on the line. This will be the one that tells a story. And we slow it down. Now that's pointing at Brad Wooten at the top. What do you reckon? Let's just release that camera up. Oh, you see, look at that. So it is Wooten by maybe the width of a bumper at the front. But wow, nothing in it at all. Let's see what the results say, because that will tell us exactly what iRacing thinks the difference was. And after all that, Brenton Hobson wins it. So wins it by 6 thousandths of a second after iRacing. I told you he was in front. Hobbo did look in front. After all that, it jiggles it round and it says, yeah, Hobson won it by 6 milliseconds over Wooten and Boydie. So maybe I should hit the results before doing that analysis. But there you go. Race 1, run and done. Pretty exciting stuff. Going to take a quick 2-minute break, grab a beer, and we'll come back shortly with race number 2. So we'll grab Hobbo in for a quick chat while we've got this warm-up session. Mate, how about that for a finish? 6 thousandths of a second iRacing, reckon that was?
Yeah, I reckon it was only about that as well.
Well, originally my timing said that it was a dead heat. It was 0.000. And then once I brought up the results, it gave you the win. So, wow, what a finish to the race.
Yeah, it was always going to be that way too. Like, you didn't want to be the guy leading, and I would have been third if those two guys didn't make that tiny bit of contact and stall themselves out there. So I was more lucky than anything on that one. But I mean, my thing, and you've seen it time and time again in this series, is like I like to go from the front, even though it's not necessarily the smartest way to go about it. Worst case, you're going to be pretty close, I figure. So means the guy behind has to make sure they get it right and get the time to draft and get it right to get past. So paid off that time. We'll see what happens in the next one. And yeah, fingers crossed we get another good finish like that.
Were you aware they were all holding back behind you and just, basically waiting for that last straightaway?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I was actually very concerned about the pit cycle because I was at the front burning more fuel. So I was expecting to lose time in the pit cycle, not gain time. So that was a real big surprise for me. I thought for sure that I would have had to do some catch up after the pit stop. So I didn't want to pit early and come out in traffic because that would have killed me. But I sort of came a couple of laps before I was out of fuel, just in a attempt to get off cycle with those guys and maybe pull a bit of an undercut or something. But yeah, they were clearly just sitting back there and saving, and it was, no one wanted to lead. So I was like, oh, well, it may as well be me.
I think to your credit too, that exit out of that final bus stop just, played really well for you because in a way you caught them napping. They were just holding back, and it's almost like a safety car restart, but at full speed.
That's right, and that's so critical to get a run out of there. And the other thing with these cars being a H pattern is that they're quite easy to miss shift as well. And if you miss shift on that last lap on the banking somewhere, you're just in all sorts of trouble. So you have to get that just right. And I got a really good run through that bus stop on the last lap. I got a pretty good run through there on most laps actually, but you need to not panic and overdrive the entry because that'll slow out your exit and you'll be a sitting duck.
That's also where you can pick up a slowdown, isn't it, through there?
Slowdown and an off track is probably the bigger thing. You can get a slowdown if you go far enough off, especially the last part of that chicane on the left-hand side. But as you know, with this series, it's stacked so heavily towards incident points. So zero incident race is worth so much. It's like you just cannot afford to get an off track, and they're very easy to get down there if you're committed into the bus stop. So
how'd you go? Any incidents on that race?
No incidents on that one. I don't believe Jack or who else was Brad. I don't think either of those guys did too, according to my timing. But
right.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to pick them up around here. So you sort of every time you go through there, you really are risking it.
Well, good race one, mate. Another one to still come. Give us a quick plug for your streaming, mate, because I love flicking over every now and then on Twitch and seeing you doing your thing. You're on there again tonight?
Yeah, live again at the minute, and over at twitch.tv/Hobo88. You can check out all my channels there, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. So,
do you have some good regulars, mate, that always tune in to watch you?
I absolutely do. You're talking to them all right now.
There's, do some shout outs.
I'm not going to shout out anyone in particular. There is quite a few people that are in here most nights, and that's what's awesome about my community. I've got a lot of really cool followers and a really good community just in general. It's a good bunch, and there's a fair few of them out there now. So yeah, shout out to all those guys who turn up night in and night out and watch a silly old man drive around in circles.
It's good, man. It's entertaining. So congratulations. Hopefully talk to you in about half an hour's time at the end of race 2.
Yeah, I hope so. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Hobbo. All right, so almost through warm-up now. We've got about a minute and a half to go here, and then we'll get straight in for our race 2. It's always good to talk to Brenton Hobson. He, like I said, Hobbo88. In fact, I'll just show you. All you got to do, let me see if I can do it this way. If I go over here and you plug into the browser, Twitch, Hobbo, so yeah, he's one of my favourites. It just pops straight up. And there he is, streaming away. Oh, we're going to get a PlayStation ad. That'd be right. So I'll just turn that off in case I get some sort of copyright for that. So I'll just turn that off for a minute, and then I'll show you. That's how easy it is to go see Hobbo88 on the stream. And it's a really cool thing. If you're new to seeing Twitch streamers, they interact with their fans. They will chat to you, all that sort of stuff, and it just makes a fun experience. You see the driver actually driving the sim. Now I can bring it back up again. So there's his onboard. We're watching his outboard, and he'll chat away, talk to you, and you can go hang out with Hobbo and be one of his super fans. So he's been doing it for a while, and you can also subscribe to him. It shows the latest subscriber up in the top right of the screen, and people that follow and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a very cool thing you can do, and you can also listen into him. I think the chat's live as well, so you can type away and he'll respond and answer and talk to you. So If you haven't seen Twitch stream, go check out Hobo88. It is very cool. Alright, so a minute to go. We'll get set to go to the grid shortly for our second and final race for the evening here in the Roadster Rumble. Alright, let's take you down to the grid for our second race tonight, and it will be Hobbo starting off pole position after the win in race one. Look at that, 6 milliseconds was the difference, can you believe, in that first race tonight. Hobson back to Wooten, and 23 milliseconds covering the top 3, 71 thousandths of a second covered the top 4. That is super close, within a tenth of a second. Incredible. So the top 4, it was Hobson, Wooten, Boyd and Seeger. And then the third row of the grid, Ridley and Losh, Boyd and Oliver starts from 7th and 8th. You got Connors, Fenson, Carriage and Dutch, your top 12. Group B drivers will be starting in there as well. Moz, Foster, Canto and Tesseriro starting down there. We're about to go into it, so let's turn it up and get racing. Oh, look at the way that Wooten lit it up off the start. He's gone backwards there, so he's had a shocker. Easy to do at the top of the embankment, and there's a huge crash in the background as well. Look at this. Roadster rumbling, Roadster tumbling at the start of the race tonight. We've got about 6 or 7 cars involved in that big dust up down the back, and a stack of them already back in the pit lane. Sadly, a few of them trying to get going. Keith Logan involved in that. St John as well is back in the pits, so not an ideal start towards the back of the grid. Oh, there's more going on in the pack here. I just noticed, I think Scott Baker's off the track as well, and he comes back across and makes contact with another driver there. Was that Martindale? It was. So they've all got loose in this second of 2 races. Now Baker's off again. That could be the end of his run. He's into the wall. There's more skidding down there. We've got someone facing the wrong way. That's McDonald, I think. No, McDonald's way off the circuit. It's McCallick who's broken down, and he's out of the race too. He ejects back to the pits. So from the back to the front, at the back, they're in all sorts. At the front, well, we're pointing in the right direction, and off we go towards race number 2. So welcome everyone tonight. Welcome over on Twitch. And of course, if you're watching over on Facebook and YouTube as well, hello. Make some comments. I'll try and engage with you guys throughout the racing tonight, because once again, filtering to the top and out in front, it is Boydie and Hobson. Hobson leading from Jack Boyd. Ridley P3. Wooten will be ruining that start he got. Lit up the tyres off the start, went sideways and lost a stack of momentum. And then Aaron Oliver's done well, up 3 positions. And just saw a flash of off track there. Was that Seeger? I think maybe just ran across the grass. Whether or not he picked up a slowdown, we'll wait and see. And another driver, Glenn Boyd, that's not good. Boyd is facing the wrong way and has to wait while the 17, 18, 19 now drops down to 20th place. Had to wait a long time for some drivers to get through. I think he'll still get gobbled up here by Lee Harrison too, as Harrison's up to speed. Nope, he doesn't. So, and we are running a safety car. I think this is a virtual safety car by the looks of things. So we just hold steady here for a moment. And they did talk about doing this throughout the season. It just helps get everyone back into the race, which is good. So virtual safety car. They cross the line to start lap 2. Hobson leads from Boyd, Ridley, and then the top 3 In Group B, it's Connors, Fenson and Pears who's in the pit lane. So he's decided to jump in under this virtual safety car for a pit stop. That's a little bit cheeky. Nice cheap pit stop for them whilst they're at slow speed, but Brenton Hobson obviously will get told when he's allowed to race off again into the distance. We'll turn up the comms here.
Noted, thanks, Daddy.
So we can listen
same for me,
with what's going on here. Let's have a listen in.
Me too. Noted, boys. If you could just throw it on Discord, took fuel. Then everyone take fuel, didn't they? Negative, no fuel, please.
So I'm wondering if they're going to ping the drivers that pitted here under the VSC and took fuel. I'm just trying to read between the lines there.
Anyway.
On those cars that stopped.
We'll work it out after the race or tomorrow night. We'll have a look at it for those guys that took fuel. But after the call was made, nobody could take fuel. It's a great shift.
We're at the yellow tights.
So it sounds like they
Did you just come out of the pits?
they closed the pit lane as such,
I
and that's
apologise.
what's happened. So they just get themselves back into order now.
In front of him, Curtis, in front of Mr. E
And we'll wait for a restart for Hobson, who's out in front. So the virtual safety car can end at any time. They call this throughout the season or throughout the series just to bunch everything up after a huge accident. We had 6, 7, maybe more cars involved in that crash at the start. Adams, St. John's, McDonald, Pretzel and McCallick are out of this race.
Coming out now. I'm coming out now.
See a couple of cars in the infield section there desperately trying to catch up to the pack before the restart. We'll listen in for race direction shortly for a restart. I presume we're going to get going maybe around the bus stop here, Hobbo. 5 minutes into this second race tonight, lap 2 already. So we look forward to the finish of this one. I wonder if it's going to be as close. The top 4 within 71 thousandths of a second. Incredible. Harrison calls he's at the back of the pack now. I wonder if they're ready to go. There's the Ferris wheel looking beautiful and the Cheroplane. Be a great place to go and see some racing, even if you're not a fan of IndyCar, NASCAR, or any of the road racing that they do around this circuit. But it'd be so good to be here.
Finish line there, Hobbo. No overtaking until after turn 1.
There you go. So no overtaking until after turn 1 is the call from race control, which is interesting. It means they're going to have to be patient on the restart. You can't go sending it in the draft, and Hobbo will have the advantage for just holding them here until he's ready to go. When he's ready to go, he can then burst into life. And as you can hear, they've just reopened the pit lanes. So we've got 7 drivers from Group A in the top 7. Then it's Connors, Fenson and Foster. The top 3 drivers in Group B are up inside the top 10. So that's incredibly well done by Connors, who leads it, and the Lockmec racing car continues to show some really good form, doesn't he? So we wait now to see what's going to happen off this restart. When is Hobson going to actually fire into life here? He's holding them back. Remember, they will cross the start-finish line, which is coming up now. And they can't overtake until turn 1 is what I've been told. So Hobson should blast off now, you would think. And we go back to green flag racing. And no overtaking till we get through turn 1. So it takes a little bit of pressure off on the restart. We don't get that big bunch up. And it's quite a well-behaved rolling restart. So everyone right down to the back of the pack getting through turn 1. So that's a good idea. I like that from the series organisers there. Just to take that element of safety cars breeding more safety cars out by making them file through turn 1, single file. Good job. Right, back to racing though. Hobson leads Boyd, Ridley, Wooten, P4, and then it's Oliver, your top 5. Really impressed by Connors. We'll go to Group B shortly and talk about him. But he's just hanging there right on the back of the top 7, leading his class. Oh, look at the way it dives under brakes. That MX-5 hard on the brakes. All over the back of Wayne Losh once again. Fires it in. Losh on the way out was good. Brad Wooten needs to challenge here. I wonder if you'd want to be P2 coming onto the straightaway. Hobson was good enough to win it from P1, leading it out of that final bus stop chicane. We're going to find out in about 21 minutes time who's good enough this time. But Hobson's pulled that lead out to half a second, which is about where it was for the majority of the race. He's looked incredibly comfortable. Graham Ellis down the back there, just saw his name flash up. P19 up 4 spots. He's got Keith Logan just up the road. And Harrison next in line in 18th place. Then it's Ellis and Sharp to round out the top 20. Sharp just having a look to the outside now of Graham Ellis. Right up against the fence. You want to stay off the fence, because if you scrape the fence, that's when you get an X against your name. And as Hobbo said in the break, it's important to make sure you keep it clear of X's, because this series does award bonus points if you can keep your nose clean for the race. And I like that too. It's encouraging the drivers to race hard, but also keep the panels nice and straight. Don't run into each other, as we see now. Ridley closed right up onto the back of Boyd and Hobson, and Boyd goes to the outside of Hobson now. First time we've really seen him challenge and try and lead from the front, and the 4 or 5 drivers behind also closing up. So Boyd around the outside, he'll have to probably just give that one up, I would say. And look at Ridley on the inside, says, "I'll have a piece, thank you very much." And Wooten and Oliver almost get together as they go 2 by 2. Wooten gets a good view here of this battle in front, and hard on the brakes. They dip in at the front. He goes to the outside. On his inside, I can hear a car, and that's because it is Damien Seeger. And you can hear the buzzing of Seeger as he closed right up against Brad Wooten there. And oh, there's a lap. Is that a lap car getting right out of the way on the grass there? That was a little bit sketchy. As Harrison's gone around, he's looped it in the infield. A new fastest lap for Dean McCulloch as well, who is well out of position but coming through the field from the back. So Oliver P3 on the back of Jack Boyd. They're holding station once again. Some good racing at the front. We've got a car off the track mid-pack. It's Andrew Roberts. He's gone for a bit of a spin. He tries to point it in the right direction. There we go. That should be the way we rejoin the racetrack. The 31 car gets back out there just with Darren Linus and Nankaro. There is Darren Linus. He's got Cody Harrison just in front of him, and Anth Cutson as well. All inside the top 20 now. Adam Sharp, another driver, elevated up to 17th in the Group A car. You'd expect him to try and get back up closer to maybe 10th outright if he can get there over the course of the next, 19 minutes to go. You would think he can probably knock a bit of that margin down. It's about 10 seconds, no, it's a bit more, 14 seconds he has to try and close down to get up into 10th place at this stage. But like I say, a fair way to go. A few laps left in this one at the front. Still 0.2 of a second. Boydie has not led, I don't think, yet tonight. Just watching this, and who's going to pull the trigger first on a pit stop? The top 11 drivers did not stop, and there's a bit of controversy over what happened in that pit stop. And look at this, as Wooten tries to find his way through. He goes to the outside. We've got 3 on the inside, 3 on the outside, 1 up against the fence, and right around the outside, Kyle Ridley having a go at Hobbo now. On the inside, Boyd ready to pick up the pieces if something goes wrong, 2 by 2. And Aaron Oliver sweeps ahead of Wooten as well. So they're constantly changing position up over the curb there. And just flirting with disaster was Wooten again. Now down the inside, hard on the brakes. Goes to the inside of Aaron Oliver. And job done. Good overtake. Got to get back out in front, which he does well. And blocks off any sort of crisscross switcheroo from happening as they exit the corner in the infield. So a good part of the racetrack. I love the way they throw them to the left-hander there. Just aim for the curb and then hold on for dear life. Brad Wooten, like I said, recover. Oh, he's deep on the brakes there, almost into the back of Boydie. That was super close to centre punching the back of Jack Boyd. Lucky to get away with that one. A few sorries happening back in the pack. I think that was Keith. Might have hit the back of someone. He's there racing with his mate Graham Ellis at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on these two, see if they engage in a bit of a battle. Both great supporters of Racestars TV. fantastic to see them out there racing. Keith for Southern Cross Racing, the local Larry racing car we're looking at right now. Graham Ellis, the red dials on the dash, looking very speedy. Back out in front, Brenton Hobson leads. Once again, Hobson comes out in front after that challenge. They threw it at him down into turn one, but he prevails, and he carries so much more speed out of one as well. He's got the line perfect through there. Ridley and Boyd, and now Oliver fighting on. Let's jump on board with Wooten here, who's in for P5. You might just watch him trying to attack the back through the infield. So watch this. He'll try and position the car. He goes to the right-hand side there thinking maybe I can sneak down the inside under brakes. Now he's gone to the outside under brakes for the right-hand hairpin in the infield section. He'll try and then square the car off on exit and switcheroo. No, he's happy just to follow. So this is where it's so important to get a good exit out of the infield back onto the oval, because you carry this speed for the next minute or so. So they're right now 40% of the way through the lap. And as we roll up onto the, so you've still got 60% of the lap to go when you hit this embankment, and only one bus stop chicane, a place where you would touch the brakes. We're hearing Martindale dropping back there. He's made a bit of a mistake, I think, made some contact with someone. But back with this lead battle, like I said, 60% of this end of this lap, you're basically full throttle. I think you just lift and downshift maybe. We'll have a listen. Yeah, so downshifts, holds onto the back end. Bit of brakes through there, carry as much speed as you can. Don't go across the grass because you will get yourself a slow down penalty or an off track. And then you're just holding it flat still for another 25% of the lap towards the start finish line. And that's where it's so easy to get it all wrong. If you get a slowdown over there on the last lap, you're a sitting duck, as we see Ridley now lining up. Jack Boyd doing the right thing, holding the inside line, making sure anyone challenging is going to have to go the long way around. Now he opens the door though. Which way is he going to go here? Because he's boxed in a little bit. In fact, into the pits goes Ridley. So Ridley says, I'm out of this battle. I'm going to go pit early. And that was interesting because Jack Boyd was sort of stuck in the middle there. And Aaron Oliver goes right around the outside of all of them and says, oh, I'm going to take the top position. As there's contact I can hear in the background. There's something going on up the road here, I think. I'm trying to work out where that crunching is coming from. It might be in the pit lane even. Cars getting together, but Oliver leads this race now for the first time. Brenton Hobson in his mirrors. He'll be sweating bullets with the caliber of Hobbo chasing you down. But gee whiz, he went well around the outside there, and only 13.5 minutes to go. He's got a chance of winning this. Keeping an eye on Ridley. Now he's in the lane. He's 9.5 seconds stationary to take fuel towards the end of this race. So he can now go to the end. He comes out all the way down in 20th place. So the drivers that stopped, Lee Harrison, Carriage, Ellis and others that stopped in that yellow flag period, I wonder if they're going to need to stop again. So on the back of this battle, as we see now who's going to line up the pit lane. Surely Oliver and Hobbo here will try and cover off whatever Ridley's done, knowing that they've got to make a stop. Boyd's on the inside at the back in P3. Seeger, Wooten, Losh and Connors. Now straight away Oliver shapes to the bottom. I don't think he's going to the lane though, is he? No, he's going to stay out. So they all stay out and on they go for another lap. Now with the safety car period as well, I wonder if that saved enough fuel to not need a pit stop. Hobbo back to the lead. They go in really deep there, almost out of control was Oliver, but he got it together in the end, held on for P2. Let's jump on board again with Seeger as he sits here in 4th place. Foster still hanging on too, P7 outright, 7th place, like I say, outright, but P1 in class for the Group Bs, and there he is, not too far off the lead battle. I tell you what, wouldn't it be a stitch up if one of the Group B drivers could win this outright? Now it's going to take a bit of something special. As you can see, Anthony Connors there's got a huge ding in the back of that MX-5. He's all over the back of Foster as well, like a rash. Let's have a quick look on board. So there's the lead battle I was talking about, just up the road there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you got 7th, which is Foster, and 8th we're on board with there was Connors. So close between the two groups tonight, Group A and Group B. You're liking this much more even battle throughout season 7 of the Roadster Rumble. If you want to be involved, go look up the Roadster Rumble over on Facebook. Join them up. There's a link in the description of the video and try and get yourself out there to race because they got 40 on the grid tonight. I reckon you can still probably get on board and have a go. It's such a good community and good fun, clean racing. Well helmed as well by Holmes. And make sure everyone does the right thing and a good little team that he has behind him as well. So Hobson again, having them stack up behind. They don't want to overtake. This is hold stations and wait for the moment towards the end of the race to try and snatch a lead, I think. So surely someone here like Boydie or Seeger has to lead and just say, right, we're not going to sit behind Hobson. This is exactly what he did in race 1 and he ended up on top. We've got to try something different this time around. Into the lane, here we go. So they're all in except for Seeger and Losh. They stay out. Gee whiz, they're late on the brakes in the pits. You don't want to get caught speeding. All 4 of them down the pit lane to take their stops. Who's going to short fuel this? Who's been able to save a bit of fuel, to save a bit of time in the pit stop? I tell you what, I love if they can make contact in the pits. One of these days they won't let them drive through each other in the pits, that's for sure. Oh, someone had to reverse. Was that Boyd? I think Boyd had to reverse to his box. It was. So Jack, he's made a meal of his stop and he had to reverse probably 3-4 meters and then he short fuels it because I tell you what, Hobbo got out just in front of him, 9.8 seconds for Boyd. Hobson, 10.2, so there you go, he's actually longer in the box, Hobson, even though it didn't look like it. And Boyd though had to reverse the car and they come out ahead of Wes Ridley, just going through the infield now. Where's Hobson? Just in front, so Hobson comes out ahead of Kyle Ridley. The undercut didn't work and now they're P8, 9 and 10, those 3 other. Aaron Oliver's 11th with Fenson just behind him. Foster's just gone off the track. Where's Mark Foster? He's disappeared off my screen. Oh, that's no good if that's a disconnect for Foster after all that hard work. Sadly, we're going to see him not continue this race. So the first race tonight, the top 4, 71 thousandths of a second covered the top 4. What's it going to be in this one? Can Seeger go to the end here? He has not stopped. Neither has Wayne Losh. You'd expect him to need some fuel. Lee Harrison took fuel in the safety car. So did Carriage and Ellis. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with their eligibility to be on the podium, whether or not that will get stripped off them if they stay in the current position they're in, because there was definitely some talk about a closed pit lane during that yellow flag virtual safety car. Brad Wooten with his stop finished, well, he ends up in 14th, so he dropped down a long way, 16 seconds stationary for Woots. Woot. He has his work cut out for him now, so not sure why the extra length in the stop. Maybe he ticked tyres or he missed his box or had an issue there, but that's going to ruin his chances of a podium, you would think, in this second and final race tonight. Seeger in the pits, Losh in the pits too. And our 8th position, Brenton Hobson. Current lead over Boydie, half a second. So down through turn 1 again. Look on the inside coming out of the pits. Is that Losh? It is Loshy. So he's in a pretty good position. He'll come out behind Ridley. That was Seeger, I think. Oh, crashing on his way out of the pits. So Damien Seeger's pit stop's gone from bad to worse, unfortunately. Lee Harrison leading this race at the moment from Jesse. Now they both stopped the safety car, and then Brenton Hobson is next in line. So I wonder if those top two will be required to stop again. Otherwise, they've been told to write down that they took fuel in Discord. And I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on what the go is there, whether or not they'll get a post-race penalty for that. But at the moment, we'll keep an eye on what's going on here for P4 and 5, because I think this is probably going to be the lead battle, and not too far behind the Frog Leap Juice Racing car of Kyle Ridley sits in 5th outright. First in class at the moment, Jesse Carriage for Group B. Second is Henry Fenson. Like I said, Jesse with a bit of a question mark hanging over that P2 outright, and first in class. If there is an issue or a penalty, it will be Henry Fenson, currently sitting here back in 9th place outright. Second in class, will be elevated up to the top position, but it's getting racy now. Aaron Oliver as well, side by side with Woots. Brad Wooten stays in front. So as we get down towards the last 5 minutes, 3 to go, I would say, at the end of this lap. And there's my question answered. So the top two come into the pits. Harrison and Carriage come in from the lead. Hobson will be elevated now back to the top. And he's got Boyd the closest he's been in a while, challenging behind, trying to skip his way through. So Hobson, Boyd, Ridley. Now who's going to be top of Class B? I think it's going to be Henry Fenson. So fantastic for Henry. There he is, moving himself up into the lead of Group B while Carriage is in the lane. He's got Dylan Canto. Is it just in front of him? It is Canto. So that's a Group A driver. He's putting a lot of pressure on. And you've got to feel pretty proud when you're in the Group B car and you're already riding the tail here of a Group A car. That'd be exciting. Back to the lead pack. These top two. Will it come down to a photo finish again? I know you're all hanging out waiting for that. 88 Hobbo 88 in the Wave Runner Performance Synergy Sim Racing Mazda MX-5. Driven a clinical race, hasn't he? He's good in these things. He loves coming back to him. He says each week on the podium that he just loves the racing, the camaraderie, the group of people that get to go out and battle against each time in this Roadster Rumble, and that's why it is such a cool series with a great bunch of sponsors as well. That top right hand, don't discount that. Keep looking at that top right hand corner of the screen for a moment. You'll see how many great sponsors have come on board to support this series, keep getting it broadcast and keep growing. It's season 7 now. Always a highlight. Even though I've been staring at a computer screen for 12 hours today and I come home from a 12-hour workday, I still enjoy my Roadster Rumble. So once I get into the swing of things, crack a beer, sit back, relax, watch some MX-5 racing, and love when they throw it through the corner like that. Brad Wooten, aggressive looking car, lifting the front wheels up in the air as it unloads and reloads, and just a great car to watch around a track. Like I said, I'd love to see them do a tight circuit series. I know it creates a lot more drama, a lot more crashes, but I'd love to see them battle with 40 cars around Tsukuba or Oran Park or some of those tight circuits, maybe even for a bit of fun, the short track at Monza, where it's the Parabolica and a couple of big straights and a little bit of a chicane. That'd be fun to watch. So down through turn 1 for what will be the second to last time. It's still Hobbo out in front from Boyd and Kyle Ridley, your top three. Losh is hanging on. He wants to be there at the end. You can see him sitting in P4 there. And then there's a bit of a gap to Harrison, 5th place. He has, he's pushed pretty hard tonight, but he's not there at the end. He's been closer to that 4-pack in front. And Oliver as well, dropped right back now with Brad Wooten. Wooten really just hasn't been able to recover from the start. He had a shocker at the start. It's just taken him all race to try and move forward again. And P7 dropped 5 positions in this race. He'll be no doubt strapping himself in and doing a few practice starts on ovals for future reference. Andrew Dutch, we haven't spoken about it all tonight, sitting down in 17th place in the Dutch grind floor or grind tech flooring car. Car looks nice and neat. He's all over the back of Jesse for P16 outright and 5th and 6th in class. Then Tyson Gordon, Scott Baker, Bard Rodkin 9th in class, sits in 20th outright, followed by Andrew Pears, Graham Ellis, Hodgetts, Keith Logan, and Walker Roberts. Kennedy's down there as well. Harrison Gurgle, Linus, and St. John, 31st place. So this trio at the front, in fact, is 4 of them. Quartet: Hobson, Boyd, Ridley, and Losh. Now doing the dress rehearsal, I think, for what will be the final lap of the race. Let's ride on board with Kyle. So like I was saying, it's at 25% of the lap, this run to the line. And this is where he should be practicing what he's going to do on the final lap. Listen to the throttle trace here. I'll shut up, have a listen to the throttle. White flag waves, 1 to go, so that's lifting there. Obviously didn't make it to the line in time. Look at Wayne Losh around the outside. He's got the practice down pat, so he knows what he has to do on the final lap. Back on the inside, Ridley takes the position back, but they didn't even really make a mark on Hobson in that last 25% of the lap there, so they need to do something better on this final lap. Jack Boyd, he's a wily fox. He'll know exactly what to do, but right now he sits in P2. Save some fuel, so he'll be able to push hard on the final lap, but he probably needs to be within a tenth or so of Hobbo as they exit the bus stop to give him a good run for his money. And Hobbo will hang on that inside line. He'll hug it to the flag, and Jack Boyd will be made to go the long way around. So we'll stay with this battle now to the end. Who is going to take out this final race tonight for the Roadster Rumble round number 2, season 7 from Daytona? Hobson leads, good margin too, 0.6 of a second coming out onto the back straightaway or back curve away, whatever you want to call it here on an oval track. Motor Magpie says Boyd won't want to get boxed like in race 1. Yeah. What's he going to do? He's a long way back. It's now 0.3, so here he starts to close up. Like I said, it's more than half the lap to go when you get onto the embankment. Now we've got 25% of the lap to go, and he's close this time. Boyd really close. And he goes to run to the line now. He exits within 1.5 tenths. That's where he needs to be. But watch out behind, because how far back are they? Loshy's in with a chance. Ridley's dropped off the back, so he's not going to get a go at this. I'm putting some money on Wayne Losh here. He's going to probably pull out at the last minute and try and go right around the outside of all the top 2. He goes to the line. The checker flag drops, and it's going to be a win. Still a way to go. They're 3 wide. It's going to be a win for Jack Boyd, I think, in this one. Boyd, he's got the lead as they go to the line, and he crosses it by 57 thousandths of a second. Jack Boyd gets that one convincingly in the end there. 89 thousandths covers the top 3, but Losh got second. Hobbo relegated to 3rd there. Jack Boyd did get it right in the end after doing that big dress rehearsal in race 1. And second race perfectly nails the finish and gets the win. Henry Fenson takes out the win for Group B ahead of Anthony Connors. And Greg Holmes back on the podium again. He'll be pretty happy with that. You can hear Losh. He's stoked with the podium. He's celebrating and loving that. But Holmesy, for the second week in a row, gets himself on the podium for the Group B. So well done. We'll go across and have a chat to some drivers shortly, and I'll get those full results up as soon as iRacing says they're A-OK. And then we'll wrap it up here from the Roadster Rumble on Racers TV. How good was that? Daytona Road. 2 races in the bag, and you've got 2 winners, Hobbo and then Jack Boyd. Race results made available now from iRacing. Here they are. And it was Jack Boy with the win there outright, 62 thousandths of a second. He wins over Wayne Losh, who was super excited to get the WBT racing car up into P2. And Brenton Hobson, your top three. As we then go back to Group B, it was Fenson with a win there, and 9th outright. Anthony Connors, P2, 12th outright, and Greg Holmes once again sneaks onto the podium. So fantastic racing. Let's just waiting for Jack Boy to come across for a quick chat, and then we'll get it underway here. But hopefully you enjoyed that one. Let's see what they have to say for themselves in a moment. And I'll still wait for Jackie. He's not here yet, so we'll might go across and grab Wayne if he's going to be much longer. Let's grab him in here. P2 tonight. What a finish, mate. We heard the excitement in your voice. A bit of a woohoo as you crossed the line. Well done, P2.
You talking to me, Luke?
Yeah, you, Wayne. Well done, buddy.
Yeah, mate, that was a heap of fun, that race. A little bit of a coming together at the start with my teammate, which was a bit frustrating. But we all went to, we were going to follow everyone into the pits, and when everyone else went, we've decided we'd stay together and see how that worked out for us. And just got on the back of Brenton and Boydie, and yeah, to get Brenton at the line, that was pretty satisfying.
Yeah, you got the run perfectly right, and you were about probably 6 or 7 car lengths coming out of the chicane, but in the end, just snuck through past Hobbo 88. And Hobbo, you're here, mate. What about that finish? I reckon they all did the dress rehearsal in race 1, and they nabbed you in race 2.
Yeah, taught them what to do, mate. And they, it's that's what should happen if you're the leader coming from the bus stop on the last lap. Like that's how it's supposed to happen at Daytona. We sort of got lucky in the first one, but like I said, at least you put yourself in the fight when you're at the front, and it didn't work out that time. But another great finish. I mean, we had maybe a 1/10 of a second between the top few cars over both races combined, so can't ask for much more than that. That's
it, yeah. Someone in the chat said 89 thousandths of a second for the top 3. Huge gap after race 1.
Exactly.
Race 1 was, I think, the top 4 by 71,000, so incredible. But Jack, mate, you snuck through with a win there in race 2. You've been there all night, just sort of riding on the back of Hobbo, and then you finally nabbed him on that one.
Yeah, it's sort of weird these races. We sort of just trundle around for 28 minutes, and then it all comes down to the last lap on that last big straight. So, yeah, it was a good bit of fun. I mean, yeah, Hobbo sort of was just sitting in the front the whole time. I thought the best way would be second, but yeah, obviously the first race didn't really work out like that. So, yeah, it was sort of just choose where you want to be through the bus stop and see where you pop out at the end. And yeah, it was good fun in the end.
Is there no way to try and lead from the front and pull away? Is the draft just too strong?
Yeah, it's quite big. I think it was almost nearly like a second and a half, so you're never going to be able to pull away. Even like I think Hobbo come out of the pits 2 seconds in front in one of the races, and I still just sort of crept up to him without really trying that hard. So yeah, it creates really tight racing, and yeah, I think it was pretty good in the end with 6 or 7 cars in the front pack. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, we got to quickly, just before we do our thank yous, do a little shout out there to Tyson Gordon, because Bianca says, watching Tyson all the way from Namibia. Namibia? Is that how you pronounce it? So there you go. There's someone pronounce it for me?
Namibia, I think.
Namibia, that's probably 100% right. So there you go. Bianca, there's Tyson on the screen right now, but they're fantastic having you listen in and watch from overseas there. But let's do our thank yous for the top 3 Group A. You guys absolutely ripped it tonight. Well done. Starting with you, Jack, for the win in race 2.
Yeah, just a big thanks to all the fellas for coming out again. Well done, Loshy, mate. Good to see you up there. It's good to see a few different guys up there as well. So, yeah, really enjoying it. Thanks to all the admins and yourself for the broadcast. Thanks, guys.
Well done. And Wayne Losh, as he crossed the line, we heard a big woo.
Yeah, mate, pretty happy to be up there mixing it with Jack and Brenton. So I've been close a few times, but to be right there in the middle, and I thought I might have got Jack, but I just went a little bit too early. But thanks to Simworx, new sponsors, you, Luke, and all the other guys that put this together.
Fantastic job. And Brenton, finally, after a fantastic win in race 1, who would you like to thank for race 2?
I'll just reiterate what the others have already said. Thanks everyone for coming and having a race, and thanks to everyone involved with running the series, all the sponsors attached to it, Greg, and all those guys that are behind it all, and yourself for the broadcast. That's a good deal. Thanks.
Awesome. That's your top 3 for Class A. Jack Boy, the win in race 2. Wayne Losh, P2. Brenton Hobson, P3. Thanks, guys. Let's get our Group Bs in now. So we'll head across and we'll grab Mr. Fenson. First of all, congratulations, Henry, with the win in Group B, mate. Well done tonight.
Yeah, thanks. I was pretty surprised that worked out, just pitting early. I overshot my pit box and thought I blew it completely.
So lap 2 pit stop, was that at the end of the virtual safety car?
Yeah, right before we went green, I just dived off.
Yeah, good job, man. And that's obviously, sometimes you just got to try an alternate strategy and it worked for you.
Yeah, well, I got a bad first start and I dropped back to about 5th in class. So I thought, get myself out of the pack and just see what I could do.
And when you're racing in this class racing, mate, do you just concentrate on your class, or do you think, look, I want to try and mix it with the boys in the top class?
Well, I can't mix them when I'm in the same car, so I'll rather just stay behind and get their toe. So,
very good, well done, Anthony. P2, 12th outright. Congratulations, mate. Good job.
Thank you.
Talk us through your race. Like, it was a, you've got Moz in front of you at the end there. You're getting a bit of a toe off the higher class, but could you just not catch up to Henry? What was he about? 5 seconds up the road in the end?
Yeah, no, when it came out, he must have got a good pit stop still, but we were running 211s, 212s, just sitting behind the cup cars, and next minute he came out 3 seconds in front of me in the pits, and then he had a toe and I didn't have one, so he just started pulling away, so I had to go and find another car to use to get up the front, but yeah, ran out of time.
Great job. And Greg, mate, back on the podium, you're making this a regular thing now.
I might have had Lady Luck shine on me tonight, Luke. Unlucky for Glenn Boyd, but lucky for me, he got held up or was in an incident and ended up just behind him. So he managed to tow me around for a few laps until we pitted, which got me back into the hunt. And then I mucked up the pit stop and I thought, well, that's cooked it. And then managed to get in front of Cody, I think a lap and a half from the end, and then thought he actually caught me again on the line. So yeah, it was all happening in race 2 tonight.
Your hundredth of a second you got him by, so nice and close. Every race tonight, super close. We had, like I said earlier, we had 71 thousandths of a second covering the top 4 in race 1, 89 thousandths of a second covering the top 3 in race 2. So fantastic job. Let's do some thank yous for our top 3 in Group B, starting with you, Henry.
Just want to thank Stockman's for the sponsor. Thanks Greg and everyone who puts it on, and all the series sponsors, and thanks to you, Luke, for coming back every week.
All good, mate. P2, Anthony, who'd you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Lockie Roadworthy's Palmers, Courage and Sons, and my teammate Jesse, and also Greg Holmes, who puts a lot of work in behind the scenes, and the rest of the other admin boys. And thanks to you too, Luke. Thank you.
You're welcome. And finally, Greg, mate, who'd you like to thank, mate? Other than giving yourself a big pat on the back because you deserve it.
I've got to thank my personal sponsor, who happens to be my wife. She runs Palmers Australia, so
awesome.
I better give her a shout out. And the other ones I want to give a shout out to this week, Luke, are the boys behind the scenes that really make this thing tick. I mean, since we've had Damien Seeger, Wayne Losh, Anthony Connors, Moz Moroz, Mark Foster, all those boys have jumped in, given me a hand. Makes life so much easier, and I think it's really showing dividends with the racing we're getting every week. And of course, a big shout out to you for rocking up and doing such an awesome job on the broadcast every week.
That's all right, mate. I'm much over on Palmer's website now, as people can see, just trying to win that $1 million.
Go for it. I'll put in a good word for you if you like.
Very good, mate. So, yeah, no, it's good to have the sponsors. Like I said throughout the broadcast tonight, the sponsors are a huge part of it. And if people can just take notice of that top right-hand corner, it's a lot of people getting behind this series, which is good. And once again, mate, you've sported 40 cars on the grid, popular series, and it continues to just grow in popularity. Yeah,
we've actually got a few boys that missed the boat this season that are keen as mustard to get in. So, it just continues to have a lot of support, which, like I said, the other boys behind the scenes are doing a lot of work that, that I've sort of done previously. So without their help, this wouldn't be happening, but it sort of gives me chance to look at doing a few different things. And as I said, I think the racing is speaking for itself now.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So we're off to Fuji, was it next week, or Matigi?
Matigi. I was a week early last week.
Yeah, there we go. So Matigi next week will be fun, I reckon. It's a pretty twisty, little tricky circuit.
Yes, and I think there's quite a few boys in the league that will probably be buying it in earnest this week. So iRacing will be happy, but hopefully they all get a few laps in before next Monday night, because like you said, it is a tricky little circuit and takes a bit of getting used to.
Well done. It's our top 3 in class. Henry Fenson, Anthony Connors and Greg Holmes, of course, our series organisers, the Maestro, taking out a P3 in class. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week at Matigi.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and being a part of the broadcast. Make sure you, if you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you again next week. How good was Jack Boyd there? How good was Brenton Hobson? How good was Wayne Losh? They got to the line, nothing in it, but Jack Boyd can hang on for a win. In race 2, Hobson, he hung on in race 1, but wasn't to be in race 2. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night for some F3A action here live on Racestars TV. Good night.